Every few years, there's a question that bubbles up in American politics. Should there be a special convention of the states to open up the Constitution for amendments? It's kind of a slippery slope, though, critics would say, because the effort to relaunch that is happening right now, and it's tomorrow coming up at the Idaho State House. Okay, so the question is, what does it take for a convention of states to kind of be called together to look at this? How does this play out, Joe?
Okay, so there are two big ways, Brian. Either 34 states or 2/3 of both houses in Congress, they can call for a constitutional amendment, and then 38 states would have to approve any amendments made to the Constitution. But let's get into this. At this point in time, 19 states have signed on to the idea of having a constitutional convention. Taking a look, 15 more states need to sign on for a convention to happen, and that includes Idaho. Here's a map for you, though, from the Convention of States Action Group, and states in green, they have already signed off on the idea. Blue states have legislation going right now, and Idaho will become a blue state tomorrow afternoon. Senate Concurrent Resolution 112 will ask Idaho lawmakers to sign on to the convention idea. Again, the purpose is to propose constitutional amendments. Specifically, this call is to restrain federal power. The key ideas in the resolution: impose fiscal restraints on the federal government, limit the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, and limit the terms of office for members of Congress. The Idaho resolution says that there is a crushing national debt through improper and imprudent spending, and that the federal government has invaded the legitimate roles of the states through the manipulative process of federal mandates, which they say are unfunded to a great extent. So yes, this is the balanced budget topic we're talking about here. And I asked Idaho Governor Brad Little this morning at the annual Idaho Press Club breakfast about this idea. And the governor touched on the calls for a balanced federal budget and if Congress could just fix this themselves, which they do have the power to do.
I have evolved over time because everybody said, well, Congress is finally going to figure this out. They're finally going to do something. I have reached the desperation phase. And of course, the theory is we're going to get every state we need but one, and then Congress is going to do the right thing. Count me skeptical about that, but I'll take it anyway. Power of the purse is what they control, but they don't have the fiscal discipline. Even if we get the growth of the annual deficit to zero, we've still got 33 trillion in existing, but they have got to do something. So anything that sends a signal, I'm all in.
Critics of the idea say opening the Constitution makes it vulnerable to short-sighted changes on social issues. I asked Governor Little about this concept.
I worry that the concern about any of those issues would be a poison pill to the budget issue. And that's why I want it to be, and there's arguments that you can't control it when you get there. They'll runaway convention. But if every state sends all their delegates with a commitment to have it done on one thing, we can get there.
So tomorrow afternoon, the idea will be pitched in a Senate committee. Efforts like this, Brian, that have failed in years past here in the state of Idaho, noticeably in 2016, 2018. And this will again be pitched tomorrow in a Senate committee. 15 more states, including Idaho, are needed to sign on for this convention of states. And again, the proponents of it, we heard the proponents of it, but again, the critics say that they're worried that if you open up the Constitution, what if you start putting social issues in there? Ideas on abortion, ideas on LGBTQ rights, ideas on firearms, and it goes both ways. Democrats have ideas, Republicans have other ideas, so we'll see. Will this happen? Who knows, but it is a big topic to talk about.
There's some people who know because I think this has been going on since the Reagan administration. I think 81 when we first broke that $1 trillion barrier when it comes to national debt and the balanced budget. So it's been talked about a lot, and here we are in 2023, 40 plus years since.
Yeah, and of note, in 2013, a real concerted push was made kind of by Republican states. So 10 years later, they're still working on it.
Tea Party movement.
There you go.
Right. Thank you very much.